Back in October 2008, I was tipped off that Professor Teresa Ghilarducci of the New School testified before Representative George Miller's committee in support of a plan to nationalize private pension plans, in particular 401k plans. And I spoke about it at the time, but I not only spoke about it, we tracked down the professor and I interviewed her. So it's back. I talked about it last night. I've talked about it the day before. I've been talking about it for weeks. The 401k, your mortgage interest, your charitable deductions, they're all under attack because the government needs more money, and you don't get to keep more of your money. Well, at least that's their plan. I want you to listen to this interview. I want you to listen to my interview of this lady and see what she's up to. It was the first and it was the most comprehensive interview ever of her on talk radio. Go. Now, you're a professor of economics at the New School for Social Research. Is that correct?
That's right.
And you have an idea with these 401k plans that has now received a lot of publicity. You have attended at least one hearing in the House. People are intrigued by your proposal. What is your proposal?
Well, I think people don't realize how bad 401k plans treat them with their high fees and really...
No, let me slow you down there. You can get a 401k plan with a mutual fund that has no fees. I've got them.
That's what they tell you. But all 401k plans have fees. How do you pay the salaries of the investment managers and the advertising? There are fees, but they're not apparent.
So
and
they're crooked. They're crooks? Can I say that?
Pardon me?
So they're crooks.
They've gotten away with everything.
Say it.
Yep,
Cut through
they've gotten away with it.
Are they crooks, ma'am? Yes or no?
2% fees over time. That can erode about 30 or 40% of people's assets.
Yes.
It's also a huge waste of money from the U.S. Treasury because we give huge tax breaks for these 401ks, and everybody who has one gets a tax break.
All right, we got to do this slowly, or I'm going to get confused. I'm not that bright.
Okay.
So my question is, we give two huge tax breaks to whom?
Well, to anybody who contributes to a 401k.
To the people, then.
The people, workers, and they get to contribute tax-free, and the earnings in those plans accumulate tax-free.
And then you're taxed when you start taking them out.
And when you take it out. The problem is that people who are middle class happen not to contribute as much as people at the very top.
Now, before we get to that, the fact is, isn't it true, ma'am, we are denying the federal government the tax revenue it deserves?
Yeah, well, that's...
I mean, isn't that true? I mean, if I'm putting that money into a 401k, that first of all is ripping me off, as you point out. Right. And then secondly, there's tens of billions of dollars in taxes the government could be collecting, but for the fact that we keep it.
Well, you're exactly right. That's exactly right.
Not so stupid, am I?
No, you got it just right, and I'm going to steal that way of describing it.
Now, let me ask you another question while we're on the subject. What happened to all my Social Security deductions? Where are they?
Well, your Social Security deduction goes towards your account, and you'll get Social Security.
No. Wait a minute. How much money's in that trust fund?
Well, there's now about $2 trillion in that.
No, there's not. There are $2 trillion worth of IOUs from the Treasury Department.
From the federal
correct?
Government.
So where is my cash today?
You know what? You don't want it in cash. You want it in Treasury.
But let's say I want it now. Where is my cash today?
It doesn't exist. Now. You're not entitled to it.
Well, I'm not going to take it now. But where is it?
It is. It resides.
Come on, be honest now. It's not there.
Bonds, and it's a promise the Congress has made to you.
It's a promise. You mean like the FDIC promise? Where's all that money?
Yeah, and just like the layman's problem.
No, but ma'am, we've already agreed the private sector's full of crooks.
Okay,
Can we
so what
agree?
about the government?
So now we're saying the government's full of crooks.
Well, you pick your crooks, and right now the only place...
How much? You're an expert. I'm very stupid when it comes to this stuff. The unfunded liability in Social Security, how much is that?
It's about $4 trillion.
$4 trillion?
Yeah. If we
the Comptroller General says it's closer to $23 trillion.
That's if you look at it in infinity. But
no, that's if you look at it to 2050.
Well, it's
look, you're the expert, not me.
It's the Social Security actuary who is the final word on this. Congress agrees that the actuaries get to do the numbers. It says that it's $4 trillion. So in 2050,
no. By 2050, it's more than $4 trillion.
Well, if we don't do anything in Social Security, people will collect about 3/4 of what they owe.
So basically, the Comptroller General of the United States in January and February, when he issued, he's a liar too. He's a crook.
You mean David Walker from?
Yes, we can't trust him either.
He has a bone to pick.
Really?
He wants.
But back to my trust fund. Where's my trust fund?
Your trust fund is mostly in the full faith and credit of the U.S. government.
Now let's cut to it. The full faith and credit.
Yep. Of the U.S.
In other words, the money has been spent for general purposes, hasn't it, ma'am?
The trust fund is in the budget, and it makes the deficit.
Come on. Let's get to that. You're a professor. You're not a politician. The money's gone, isn't it?
Every time we buy a treasury bond.
Dr. Ghilarducci, the money is gone, isn't it?
The government borrowed it from the Social Security plan, just like it's.
They issued IOUs, correct? They issued IOUs, correct?
They did, just like they're issuing.
Hold on now. Is that insurance?
It's insured by the full faith and credit of the U.S. government.
No, I didn't ask that. Is that insurance?
Social Security is insurance.
How can it be?
Well, what it is if you meet the requirements to get the benefit, you get it.
The full faith and credit, I got that part. Yeah. The IOUs, I got that part.
Yeah.
But basically, if the government didn't have a printing press, it would be a Ponzi scheme, correct?
No, you're right. And if it was Argentina or some other kind of country...
forget about Argentina. Now, here's my next question.
Yeah.
These 401ks, why don't we just nationalize the damn things?
Well, that's my proposal.
Yes. Tell us how we would do that. Go ahead.
What I want is those... tax breaks to be cut way back. So if people want to contribute $5,000 to their 401ks, I don't know why they would, they can, and they'll get a tax break for that. But stop it at $5,000. Right now, the wealthiest contribute up to $20,000. Only a few people, about 3% of workers.
Well, we want to stick it to them.
Yeah. So they don't need it. We don't.
No,
need
they
it.
don't.
They help themselves.
But may I ask you a question about the attitude?
Yeah.
Not yours personally,
yeah.
But I mean the attitude that goes into this. When somebody says that somebody else doesn't need something,
yeah,
isn't that a little fascist, don't you think?
Well, when we have dollars to spend, you want to help the people.
No. But if I earn $5 million employing 1,000 people
sure.
and creating, let's say, a brand new heart valve, and I do things that are good for society, my question to you is, you're looking at me from the New School, is it? The New School for
sure.
Social Research.
Right.
Why should you be able to tell me,
yeah,
or anybody for that matter, that I don't need that?
No. I
That's what you said. I don't
very
need that.
Narrowly. No, the rich in this country get to keep their riches.
What is rich?
We believe in that. It's important.
What is
rich? I
rich?
just meant if we're going to spend dollars for retirement income security, you don't need to incent.
But you're defining spending dollars as people keeping their money and denying it to the federal government.
Sure. I mean, you said it before. If the government needs money, for whatever, bombs and freeways,
exactly,
then not taxing it is denying the government the money.
Exactly. And where is that in the Constitution?
Pardon me?
Where is that in the Constitution?
No, well, the Constitution says...
Now, we can only do things that are constitutionally acceptable.
Yeah.
Hold on now, where is that authority? Which article? What section? You've been studying this, you've written books on that. Where's the constitutional authority for the government to do that?
For the federal income tax?
No, not the federal income tax. For the government generally to say, you know what, you're rich and you don't really need that.
No, it's not in the Constitution. The Constitution gave the power to Congress and the President to
do
make
what?
Those philosophical decisions.
No, to raise taxes, an income tax, to pay for the legitimate purposes of government.
Right. And then we decided to make it a progressive income tax.
Well, right, I got all that, but my question is, where does the Constitution permit the government to decide that I have too much money for my pension?
No, it's not in the Constitution. It's in the laws of Congress.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you, but I find me very entertaining in this interview, and we've got 7 or 8 minutes left in the next segment, and it only gets better. She's a Ph.D. You can tell I'm kind of playing with her. I'm drawing her out. I was concerned at the time when I brought her on if I was doing a full frontal conservative attack that she'd go away, and I didn't want her to go away. I wanted to expose exactly what she's thinking and what she wants to do. There's more of this as soon as we return. We have another 6-minute segment. Unfortunately, it goes quickly, doesn't it? This lady's a PhD. She was a professor when I interviewed her for almost 30 years. Notre Dame before the New School. And her name is Professor Teresa Ghilarducci. And it is her plot to nationalize your private health care. She's a mastermind. A cool idea. Basically, they would seize most of your assets, and in return, they'd give you a piddling annuity. And of course, when you die, you can't pass that on to your children. And they speak of this in terms of you're costing the government by saving more of your money. This is absolutely the mindset of fascism, of socialism, communism, or what I call statism. Every way possible, Obama is looking to redistribute wealth, to take money from you, the people who earn it, and give it to other people who've not. Obamacare is about redistribution of wealth. Remember, we played a number of clips from one of the people who was involved in, I think the guy's name was Berwick, who was involved in this scam. It's about redistribution of wealth. Everything Obama's doing has frankly, a Marxist core to it. And a lot of people say, the problem is we conservatives, we won't change our positions. Yeah, that's true, actually. We're not going to surrender our liberty. We're not going to give up on our principles. But here she is, the second half of my interview, and you'll notice she didn't know who I was. She didn't know I was a conservative. Even at this point, she's absolutely clueless. Here's more of the interview with Professor Teresa Ghilarducci of the New School, October 2008. Go. Do you think Congress did a good job in overseeing Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae?
No, they did a terrible job.
Do you think they've done a good job in overseeing the Social Security Administration?
I think that's a good program, actually.
Well, we're not going to get rid of it. My question is, if we have trillions of dollars in unfunded liabilities, don't you think there needs to be better oversight?
I think that we are aware of Social Security needing more money, and I'm all for it.
Oh, more money.
Right. We do. Yeah.
Now you know there's that. Let's go back to this actuary that you spoke of.
Yeah, sure.
Who explains that we're running out of people to pay into Social Security. Isn't that the real reason you want to tap into these private pensions?
It's not the numbers of people.
Hold on now, but follow my second part.
Yeah, okay.
Isn't the real reason you want to tap into these private pensions is because Social Security is out of money?
No. Social Security is a good base. We need
a good base of what? Debt.
For your retirement income security. It's a guaranteed source of income for the
Well, it's guaranteed to the extent that the government doesn't go bankrupt. And governments do go bankrupt.
Yeah, but it's never missed a payment in all of its years since 1938.
Yeah, that doesn't mean a thing. When the crash comes up. No, well, let me ask you this. I don't mean to be belligerent. I'm stupid on this stuff. Let me ask you a question. What kind of pension do you have?
I have a great pension. It's like the kind of pension I want everyone to have.
Well, I didn't ask that. What kind of... You don't get to make a decision...
I'm forced to save 10% of my salary every single paycheck.
I see.
And it goes into a fund that's professionally managed. And my trustees bargain with the Wall Street firms to get the best prices.
Right. And I'm sure you have resisted this tooth and nail.
No, I think it's really good. It forced me to save when I was 25.
Well, how much are you saving each year?
I save 10% of my salary. It forces me to.
So I don't want to know, is it over $5,000?
Yeah, it is over $5,000.
Well, why should you be able to do that?
I know exactly. I
mean, why shouldn't you have to live off Social Security?
Exactly. I think everybody should have what I have.
Why shouldn't you have to live off at $1,200 a month?
It's outrageous. No. That's why people need a supplement.
No, wait a minute. Social Security pays on average $1,200 to $1,400 a month.
People need more.
It's a magnificent program. You just said that.
It is. It's a good base. But people
so it's $1,200 to $1,400 a month. It's dead broke. It's got trillions of dollars in unfunded obligation, and your problem is the 2% that the mutual funds take.
It's a big problem. It is. It's a little cuts everywhere.
Are you a PhD?
I have a PhD. I do.
Can I call you Dr. G then?
Hey, Dr. G. I agree with you.
Dr. G, do you realize the Rube Goldberg type logic that's being applied here?
So you think that because Social Security needs help...
I think professors should leave the rest of us alone. I think liberal members of Congress should leave the rest of us alone.
Hey, but how are you...
Hold on, my turn. And if I have $5 trillion, like some of your buddies, like Bill Gates and Buffett, or billion, and I want to invest that money, which creates jobs, which makes money available for mortgages, we don't all stick it in our mattresses.
Sure, yeah.
Then I should be able to do that without Dr. G telling me I can't. What do you think?
Oh, please invest your money. I'm just telling you, you might need help.
Now, who's smarter? Who's smarter, the individual with his own money or Barney Frank?
An individual with their own money had been caught with 100% equities.
But Barney Frank was in charge of Freddie Mae and Fannie Mac. You get my drift?
And they had a lot of pressure from the industries.
Well, maybe they did, but they're grown-ups.
And Clinton and Bush let the industry run wild.
No. Barney Frank and Chris Dodd did not want to tame these companies, did they? Come on, Dr. G. Come on.
Yeah, look, they could have done more, but
who are you voting for?
People don't have that kind of control.
Who are you voting for?
I'm voting for Obama. But you probably could have guessed that.
Yes, I could.
Well, look, what would you do for people's retirement security?
What do you mean, what would I do? I'm doing it right now. I'm paying for it. I pay into Social Security.
Okay, but you need more. So where's your pension?
Get off your ass and make a living. What do you think? Pretty good idea?
Yeah, that's a good
Rather
idea.
than subsidize sloth and other things? You see, here's the problem. People need money to go to college. People need money to buy food. People need money to warm their homes. People need money for their pensions. People need money for their children. People need lots of money. Now, the question is whether you favor a more capitalist system or a more socialist system. You're a professor, who has lived in an environment of... Hold on now. You're a professor who's lived in the environment of socialism. That's what a college is. It's a socialist enterprise.
Hey,
it's not capitalism.
I taught at Notre Dame for 25 years. It wasn't a socialist.
I'm talking about the college environment is purely socialist. Where's unless the private sector deigns to give some money to it, that's perfectly fine. But you're funded by taxes mostly.
No, we're funded by students paying their bills.
Well, I get that, but you're also subsidized heavily by state and federal government, including loans.
Well, that's the state workers. But
hey, I got it figured out, Dr. G. Rather than subsidize colleges with that money, we'll put it into Social Security. What do you say?
I think the Social Security does need money.
All right, my friend.
And we have to take a careful look at the budget and look where we can get it. All right, listen to me. I got
to go. You're a good sport. Just do me one favor, will you?
Yeah.
Stop destroying my country. I'm live. I'm back. Oh, good Lord. It's pretty scary, isn't it, folks? Some idiot wrote a piece over there at the Daily Post, Daily Beast, I guess. Can't remember his name. I think his name's Moynihan or something. The problem with guys like Mark Levin, he says, is they do not, they just don't connect with average people. Unlike some guy's name I can't pronounce, he said, and you wouldn't know anyway. You see, these people who pretend to be smart and then they assign us our smart people and tell us who we should be listening to are so completely out of touch, are so moronic. They don't understand. They define themselves. Why do you think I come behind this microphone every day and talk about liberty and private property rights and a constitutional system? Why do we talk about John Locke and Montesquieu and de Tocqueville? Why do we talk about the opposite? Plato's Republic and the Communist Manifesto and Hobbes's Leviathan. Why do we talk about these things? We talk about these things because we try to connect our history, our heritage, to events that are going on today that affect everybody in this country. Whether you work in a coal mine, whether you work in a fishery, whether you're drilling for oil, whether you're driving a cab or a truck, whether you're a white-collar, blue-collar, union, non-union, whether you live in the city or the suburbs or the exurbs or whatever the hell we call them anymore. We're talking about human rights. Human rights, not those defined by government, but those that are divine by providence. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about your individual sovereignty. We're talking about when you get up every morning and go to work and come home in the evening or at night, that the government should be able to torment you and coerce you and take 20, 30, 40, 50% of what you earn and blithely go ahead and do whatever it wants with it, unmoored from constitutional government. That's tyranny. And for some reason, this is way too complicated for these morons at the Daily Beast. Some people who write in other places, it's way too complicated. And yet, millions and millions of you from all walks of life, educated, either in the streets or educated in schools, you get it. You get it. The problem with that professor is she's coming up with a scheme that is intended to deny you of your private property rights. And listen to the way they talk. I played along with her. We're denying the government money. Really? We work for the government now? We're subjects of the government? Oh, yes, yes. And it only helps the wealthy. That's right. Only millionaires and billionaires have 401k plans and IRAs, right? And the government's done such a great job running entitlement programs, running them right into the ground, that all we should do is give more and more to the government. We are not servants. We are not subjects. We are not slaves. We are human beings. We are individuals who have free will. And that's what this fight is about. You're going to get sucked into this welfare state, and it's going to chew you up and spit you out. And you're going to be miserable and poorer and less free as a result. That's what this battle's about. That's why we draw the line right now. That's why we demand that these Republicans fight and stop surrendering. We're Americans. We're not the French. We're not the Germans. We're not the English. We're Americans, damn it. And what Obama has done and what all these eggheads have done is they're importing a foreign philosophy into this country. Communism wasn't developed in America. It was developed in Europe, just like National Socialism, just like all the other crap they came up with to impose their will on the people. We broke away from that system.